A 70-mile-wide asteroid named Matilda is hurtling toward Earth, and all the world's governments unite to send a spaceship to destroy it. Unfortunately, the spaceship explodes the moment it enters the asteroid field, sealing humanity's fate. In 3 weeks, Matilda will collide with Earth, wiping out all life. Married couple Dodge and Linda hear the grim news on their car radio, but Dodge remains indifferent, casually noting that they missed their exit. Linda, frustrated by his apathy, abandons him for good. With the end of the world confirmed, people across the globe start ticking off their bucket lists. Streets are filled with unusual signs offering services like illicit meetings, companionship to spend the end together, and even mercenaries offering to assist those who can't endure the final days. Dodge, however, has no goals or plans and sticks to his monotonous routine. With just 21 days left, he continues going to the mostly empty gym. On the gym's TV, news anchors report that all cell phone networks have failed, with water and power outages soon to follow. Dodge drives to work, battling heavier than usual traffic as people rush to flee the city for scenic places. At the office, only a handful of employees show up. Dodge takes calls from panicked clients asking if their policies cover global catastrophes. During meetings, management offers promotions due to staff shortages, though none of the remaining employees accept. At the end of the day, Dodge checks his mailbox, but as always, it's empty. Returning to his apartment, Dodge notices his neighbor Penny storm out, arguing with her boyfriend Owen. Inside, Dodge finds his cleaner, Elsa, dutifully tidying up. He tries to tell her she doesn't need to come back anymore, but she misunderstands, thinking she's being fired. To avoid upsetting her, Dodge retracts his words, and Elsa cheerfully promises to return next week. Later, Dodge drinks cough syrup mixed with vodka while watching the news, learning the last commercial flight has departed, leaving only private planes operational, though experts warn against flying. Before bed, Dodge encounters a spider in the bathroom. Initially ready to kill it, he changes his mind and lets it live. That night, the spider crawls over his face as he sleeps. The next morning, Dodge wakes up covered in spider bites. When he arrives at work, a coworker's body lands on his car, the result of an apparent suicide. The disturbing sight shakes him. A week later, with 14 days remaining, Dodge attends an end-of-the-world party hosted by his friend Diane. During the party, Diane's teenage son hurls insults at his parents, who respond in kind, no longer caring. Diane's husband finally shares his prized cigarettes with Dodge. Diane candidly mentions she always knew Linda wasn't happy with Dodge, leaving him stunned by this revelation. Diane then attempts to set Dodge up with a woman, reasoning that nobody should die alone. When Dodge declines, her husband dryly remarks that no one will truly die alone since the entire world is ending. As the party kicks off, Diane introduces Dodge to Karen, who's dressed in all the fancy clothes she rarely wore. Karen awkwardly flirts with Dodge, making small talk, but he struggles to respond. During dinner, guests discuss their final plans, visiting family, fulfilling bucket lists, or just seeking companionship. Karen coyly suggests she hopes to spend her last days with someone special, hinting at Dodge. After dinner, the party escalates into chaos, with children drinking and guests indulging in various substances. A friend of Dodge's claims that women now have no standards, encouraging Dodge to pursue Karen with him. Dodge refuses, uncomfortable with the suggestion. When fireworks and drugs come out, Dodge escapes to the bathroom to avoid the madness. Diane follows him, attempting to kiss him, but Dodge firmly reminds her that she's married. Diane dismisses his concerns, saying such rules no longer matter. Overwhelmed, Dodge leaves the party early, returning home to reflect on his past. While looking at a photo of his high school sweetheart Olivia, he begins playing the harmonica but stops upon hearing sobbing from the fire escape. He checks and finds Penny, distraught after missing the last flight to the UK, meaning she won't reunite with her family. Feeling sorry for her, Dodge invites Penny inside, offering her cough syrup mixed with vodka. In return, Penny offers him some pot, but Dodge declines. Penny confesses that smoking helps her cope with her hypersomnia, a condition that allows her to sleep through anything, even the apocalypse. The two of them watch TV and fall asleep on the couch. The next day, Penny remains fast asleep, even as Elsa vacuums right next to her. Dodge tries pinching her nose to wake her, but it doesn't work. He plays the harmonica, which finally rouses her, and she decides to head back to her apartment. Downstairs, Penny brings Dodge a pile of mail, explaining that the mailman had been mistakenly delivering Dodge's mail to her for years. Penny assumed Dodge lived with Linda since she often saw her with another man, always looking happy. Dodge, realizing Linda had been unfaithful, returns to his apartment and furiously destroys all her belongings. Consumed by frustration, he drinks a bottle of blue liquid at the park and passes out, hoping to end it all. However, he wakes up unharmed, with an abandoned dog tied to him and a note reading sorry. With 12 days left, Dodge takes the dog home, noticing riots, fires, and looting intensifying across the city. While sorting through his old mail, Dodge finds a letter from Olivia, sent months earlier. In it, Olivia confesses she never stopped thinking about him but says it's too late for them now. Suddenly, a brick shatters Dodge's window as rioters overrun the building. Grabbing the dog, harmonica, and Olivia's letter, Dodge escapes through the fire escape. Dodge goes to Penny's apartment, where Owen accuses him of having an affair with Penny and punches a wall in frustration. Ignoring Owen, Dodge wakes Penny and warns her about the riots. She insists on grabbing her vinyl records before they flee. When they find Penny's car, she struggles with parallel parking. As gunfire erupts nearby, Owen uses Penny as a human shield, exposing his selfishness. Tired of the chaos, Dodge offers to introduce Penny to someone with a plane if she helps him leave the city. Motivated, Penny manages to get the car out, leaving Owen behind. Unfortunately, they run out of gas the next day because Penny forgot to fill the tank. Frustrated, Dodge lashes out, blaming her for ruining his chance with Olivia. Feeling guilty, Penny vows to make things right and hitchhikes for help. They get picked up by a man named Glenn, who talks endlessly about his life, annoying Dodge. Glenn reveals that he considered suicide before the apocalypse but decided against it, fearing it would prevent him from reaching heaven. Dodge becomes uneasy, especially when he notices digging tools in Glenn's truck. When Glenn stops for a bathroom break, Dodge warns Penny that Glenn might be dangerous. Penny dismisses Dodge's concerns and walks the dog. Glenn returns, mistaking Dodge for a fellow killer based on his blank expression. Laughing at the misunderstanding, Glenn explains he hired a mercenary to end his life. Just then, the mercenary arrives and shoots Glenn before driving off. Dodge and Penny bury Glenn and continue their journey in his truck. Later, they stop at a roadside restaurant called Frenzies, where the staff greets them with hugs. Penny and Dodge order classic meals for themselves and the dog. Penny joins a conga line, and when the waiters learn it's Dodge's birthday, they surprise him with cake and a song. A playful waitress kisses both of them, but when the party turns wild, Dodge and Penny leave. Back in the truck, the tension between them culminates in intimacy. Dodge feels guilty afterward due to their age difference, but Penny assures him it was her choice. Suddenly, a police car pulls them over. Penny wants to ignore it, but Dodge insists on stopping. The officer lists their offenses, but Penny argues it's meaningless now. The officer arrests them anyway. In jail, Penny breaks down, feeling she's failing her promise. Dodge comforts her, admitting he ruined his own life long before meeting her. He plays the harmonica until they both fall asleep. The next morning, a new officer releases them and offers a ride. Penny directs him to an ex-boyfriend's house, where they meet Speck, a military man with a bomb shelter. Speck offers Penny a satellite phone, and she tearfully reconnects with her family. Speck reveals that only Penny can stay in the shelter, but she chooses to continue her journey with Dodge. Eventually, they reach Olivia's childhood home, where Dodge leaves a letter instead of confronting her. After an argument, they stumble upon a beach baptism, joining the community for a peaceful day. Their journey finally leads them to a countryside house, where Dodge reunites with his estranged father, Frank. After a heartfelt dinner, Frank flies Penny to the UK, but she wakes mid-flight and returns to Dodge. As the asteroid nears, they confess their love and hold each other as the world ends.